Okay, this time I'm back in the same attire and hairdo. Grandkids stuff. I can't talk about you two grandkids without first. This is interesting. I didn't expect that. And it may happen again. I can't talk about grandkids without first talking about law. I love that young lady. I truly do. Note the choking up and the tears. We met at the Valentino's at 102nd and Maple. We were maybe an hour together with Adam and the other attendees. Later, I remember telling Adam, "You'd better marry that girl." Pretty good first impression. She's a great mama bear, as I call it. Don't cross her when it comes to her kids. I remember her battling for Kari when she had academic problems with the Bennington School District. Nobody was going to intimidate her, and she was going to hold their feet to the fire come hell or high water. She got, I think, 2 protection orders from Adam when he was at his most scary and dangerous. She simply was going to protect her kids. By the way, I agreed that was necessary. I got to. The way those work, he couldn't get within 100 feet, say, of us. We could get next to him. So even though I had that restraining order, which he knew, I, saw him every day. Law didn't for, cripes, 2 years or better part of. The kids didn't. I totally understood that. And La was letting Adam back into their lives, but very slowly until he could prove he was stable, not a threat. And I remember phone calls to start it off and just working through it. La and I had dinner in Orlando recently at Kari's national pageant. I don't know that we've ever had dinner just La and me. Maybe, but boy, it hasn't been often. When we go out, we always have one or both of the youngsters with us. What a nice night that was. She told me the now famous CFO card in the mail at home and the maybe more famous CEO, CFO of Methodist Hospital System visit to her cubicle. Wildly impressive. I still don't think she grasps what huge things those were. And by the way, no surprise, though she may remember more, I only remember 2 times in 20 years that we had a crossword. Shockingly, my fault. I offered her excellent parenting advice one time. She rather sternly and rather loudly told me to keep my nose out of raising her kids. Message taken. The other time, Fifi and I were in that weird 4-month period between Fifi leaving our house and Fifi's death. Davis was born just a month before her death. I told La that Fifi cannot see Davis since we were on the outs at the time. Well, that set her off, and rightly so. Nobody was going to tell her who could see her son. Noted. I enjoy seeing her with all her Bennington buddies. She's been a keeper. I could go on. Davis, when you were little, 5 or so, I loved watching you and Adam playing Lego Batman. You were about that age, 5. You were so into it, it was nuts. You would stand there with that controller, jumping and pushing those buttons. God, it was insane. You always played standing up, jumping up and down, and dancing. That's something I surely miss. Also, at that age, Adam taught you to sing "Are You Human or Are You Dancer?" a song by the Killers. It was hilarious. We took some, or have taken some trips. Davis, Kari, La. La and Adam took a cruise with Sherry and me, leaving out of San Diego. Good time had by all. The Hawaii cruise with all of us. Not How do you spell COVID? I remember Kari and La at the national pageant in Branson. Good news is it gave me lots of time with Davis. Very nice. I hope we both greatly enjoyed that. La took a famous video of Kari winning a section of that national pageant on civic involvement, all of her work on suicide prevention. And Kari's reaction just kept getting wilder and wilder as the competition was eliminated. It got down to Kari and one other gal. And the way they play that game is they say the next name we announce will be the runner-up. So, of course, they announced the other gal's name. Kari freaking lost it. It is hilarious. It is moving. And those two have that video and will forever, of course. They have sent it to me several times. And I don't know whether it's in my text file, my Kari text file. I have no clue. Let's see. The Des Moines pageant, just recently, she left there with her arms full of trophies. It was 6, maybe more. We just went to Kari's national pageant in Orlando. Kari came in 4th in the speaking section, which is no surprise. I saw her speak for the first time at a pageant when she was like 10. And it was unbelievable that somebody her age could be that good and that unintimidated, lacking nervousness at all. I couldn't go to New York City a few years back, and in addition to airfare, I had booked a hotel that looked out on Times Square. So, and I also had tickets to Broadway and various other stuff. I couldn't go. I asked them if they wanted to, of course. Couple years ago, Davis and I made plans to go to a Packers game in New Orleans. I love New Orleans. New York City, Chicago, New Orleans. In that order, my favorite American cities. Well, the problem is New Orleans was hit by a hurricane 10 days before the game. So they sent us to Jacksonville, Florida, Man, you talk about a step down. New Orleans is crammed with interesting, unique things to do. Jacksonville, not so much. Um, here's a disturbing story. Davis forced me to buy him $670 Christmas Gucci sneakers. What a money grubber. Uh, uh, again, why so long to figure this one out is beyond me. When the four of us go to dinner, most of the talking is La and I. The kids rarely have much to say. I don't know why the inspiration hit me, but I started taking them out alone. Just me and Davis, just me and Kari. Wonderful time. These babies are running like 2 hours a pop, which, other than movie night with you guys, Ryan and Eric, I don't think I sit for 2 hours with anybody. Speaking of Adam off and on, he took a bunch of pictures of Kari on Flickr. Cool, if you can get to them. There is a picture of Fifi holding Davis, and I think that was at her work, and how they got there is beyond me, but that's where I think it was. That is her last known picture, Davis. I asked Davis and Kari for a list of the sports that they played, and via text, at least I think I did. And they were both kind enough not to respond. I recalled Davis playing a boatload of baseball and basketball. Those were his two sports. I remember Kari playing softball, basketball, and I think volleyball, and I may be leaving something out. The basketball was a riot. I don't know how old Kari was when she started playing, but she was the one who took the ball up the court, but not very far. She would stand probably 5 feet inside the half court line, put her butt to the defense, and dribble. And the defense cannot steal the ball. I am not exaggerating when I say she would regularly dribble for 3 to 5 minutes before passing. God, it was hilarious. And then, like the next year, she's bringing the ball up court, her head up, never looking down, dribbling, and all the way into front court and make the right pass. It was an amazing progression. So Adam gets Lanessa pregnant. Adam was scared to death to tell me. He thought I would explode. So he finally gets the nerve up to do that, tell me, and I completely calmly say, you know, I would have rather you did it in a different order, like married first, but I'll be thrilled to be a grandpa. Congrats. I think he had to about lose it, have no clue what had just happened. Prior to that, I had done condom math with Adam. I asked him, what's the pregnancy prevention rate on condoms? And he says 98, 99%. And I said, well, if you're like most people, in your early days, you'll probably be making whoopee a lot, like many times a week, if not many times a day. So I do some quick math, 98, 99%, and I say, well, if you're using condoms and that's all, you'll be pregnant within 6 months. And they were. Both of my grandkids have golf names. Guess who dictated or suggested that? Davis Love III was a very famous golfer when Davis was born. So his name is Davis Adam Dawson. Davis Love III was in front of Adam. Kari. There was a golfer named Kari Webb, a really good golfer. So she is Kari, spelled differently, Amelia, which was Fifi's first name, even though she went by Kathy, her middle name, Dawson. And I think I recall Kari's name was going to be Dakota until, like the last minute. Lastly, Kari has Adam's birthday due to a 12:01 a.m. C-section. La must have been crossing her legs to keep Kari in. And I remember the first time I saw Kari saying, oh my God, she has perfect eyes and a perfect mouth at birth. I mean, she was pretty from the first minute. All right, gang. One other thing. So I watched Davis play all that basketball and baseball. Baseball, he played shortstop and much more pitcher. And he was a darn good pitcher. His dad had a very live arm. So that's probably where that came from. Basketball, good Lord, he played a lot of games. I mean, he probably played 30 baseball games a year. Pardon me. But that was one season. Basketball kind of stretched the whole year. Different leagues, etc. Well, eventually he got old enough that he was playing Bennington hoops. And he progressed to a point that this year he's typically the first guy off the bench. So quite an accomplishment. When he was a junior, he lettered. So good stuff. Kari does her suicide prevention programs and is a cheerleader and is a member of cheer squad and is doing great academically after that false start at Bennington in grade school. Oh, and I'm sure there are other things for both of them. Davis has learned from his pappy that women are kryptonite. He has no plans to have a girlfriend because he has seen that those deals can turn out poorly. Kari, speaking of that, Kari recently sends me a text with a picture of a model quality young guy. So, being an idiot, I text her back, boyfriend? He's gorgeous. Lucky guy. She writes back, it's I wasn't familiar with this. Frame, maybe? It's just a fake face and apparently superimposed over her face. So, complete BS. She really enjoyed it. And me pimping the entire world all the time did too. Okay, we're done with this section on kids and grandkids. Next up will be a shorty on cars. You'll find this unbelievable, but I think I've had more cars than women. Bye-bye.